Hello viewer, I hope you're having a fine day. As you can see, this video took a while. This project has been quite disastrous, but here it is. It's a double circle ankle long skirt, and I just wanted to show you how I made it, and also like with some technical issues. So I really wanted to have a skirt that could go over the crinoline I made, that wouldn't like just stretch out on it. Would actually fit. And also, when I showed this crinoline to my friend, he sent me like a drawing of a woman wearing a crinoline on top of a lingerie and nothing else, like no skirt. And I'm not the type of person to wear that. But the idea of the having this shape, but also having the view of the legs, maybe, or just not being fully covered with the skirt seemed cool. So I thought, hey, I want to make like a window to the legs, and so I thought a cool window would be a curtain, because it would have patterns and like tulle stuff like that. So and I really wanted it to be black, and I couldn't find a black curtain in a thrift store because there's a ton of white ones if you want to make something similar, but you're fine with it being white or some other light color, then it will be way easier. But I found this curtain on Vinted, so that's how I got it. And so let's just get to the process. We are going to have to count some things. So first I took some measurements. I measured my waist, and I measured like the length of the skirt. Roughly, it's not going to be exact on a project of this scale, but you know, I rounded the numbers a little, and I decided that there's going to be like 3 layers, 3 panels, and each of them is going to be 1/3 of the skirt's length. Alright, so now we're going to do some math. So that we know how much of everything we have to order, and also so that later on we know what to do. I'm showing you the whole process because these are my measurements, and I want you to be able to do it for your own measurements. I'm using Lena here as a model. Lena is my OC. We measured the waist. For me, that's around 60 centimeters, and the length is going to be around 90 centimeters. And now we're only going to need one formula, and it's an easy one. That's L equals 2 pi r. L, that's circumference, and r is radius of a circle, and pi is for me around 3,14. Now we're going to do a lot of rounding up the numbers. I can't even measure anything like more precise than a millimeter to begin with, but before the time of counting, I'm using precise numbers, and then I cut less precisely. We're going to need to make 2 circles because that's a double circle skirt. And the circles are going to have 3 tiers, and 1 hole in the middle for our body, and that hole in the middle for our body is our L1, and it's half of L0, L0 being the waist. That's just because one circle is going to cover half the waist, and the other half of the waist. So that's going to be around 30 centimeters. And now I also counted R1, which is the small radius, so that I know, I can fold the fabric and then just find the radius, and using the radius find the curve to make like a quarter of a circle, and then cut that. So that's 2 pi L1, 2 times 314 times 30, which equals 4,77 centimeters. Which I rounded it down to like 4.5. I was rounding up to half or full centimeters. And we're going to need R, the full circle, the full radius of a full circle, because our A is only the length of the skirt without the middle part considered. So that's going to be R1, what we just counted, plus our A, which is 477 plus 90, which is 94.77. That's the whole radius. And so, we buy fabric in not in circles. So I did a square out of this. So one side of the square is twice as much as we just counted, so 2 R's. So that's going to be 2 times 94.77, which I rounded up to 2 meters. Because it's better to have more because we need an edge to fold later on. Each of the panels is going to be 1/3 of the length, which is 90 divided by 3, which is 30 centimeters. And I used that to just add to get R2 and R3, so the other radiuses that are inside of it. So that's going to be R2 is going to be 4,77 plus 30, so that's 30. So that's 34,77, and R3 is going to is going to be that plus 30, so that's going to be 64,77. And R3 is actually our circumference of the circle that's going to be clearer, the curtain circle. So I can now also count a square out of that, like how much that will be. And that is 2 times 64,77, which is, I rounded it up to 130 centimeters. And lastly, I decided to have a bit of a ruffle around the edge, the edge of the skirt. So that's going to be the outer circumference, so one outer circumference is again 2 pi r, which is 2 times 3,14 times 94,77, which is 5,195 meters. I was counting in centimeters, but that's a bit counterproductive at this point. When I do the ruffle, it shortens the ribbon about 3 times, so I need 3 times more than I would have wanted. Alright, so the fabric that I used was sold in 2.2 meters in width rolls. So I bought 4 meters of that, and the first part was like laying it out to be cutting at later on, because I don't have circles this huge to trace. I had to draw them on, and yeah, that was very difficult to record. I did not record everything at the beginning, but what I did, I folded it in a way to form like 2 squares, and then folded these squares, and then I just used a measuring tape kind of as a compass to just measure out a bunch of dots, and connected the dots. I used a washable marker for that, and I just made these quarter circles and cut them out, bearing in mind in which direction I'm going to be putting the fabric. I knew that the middle panel of the skirt is going to be a different fabric, so I didn't have to. So I cut the middle part out as a bit smaller than it's supposed to be to have fabric to fold, to make a nice edge later on. But yeah, it was quite a bit of an It was quite a bit of a workout, I must admit. My scissors are sharp, but they're not that sharp. It took quite a bit of strength, and I ended up separating the fabric as I went and cutting in parts. It's not perfect, but with something of this scale, 1 centimeter going this way or the other, is not that huge of a difference. And yeah. And I just cut out a bunch of these circles, and they looked so nice folded down, just laying next to each other. And later on, when I sewed them together, I couldn't fold them back, and I I could not fit this project on my desk. Like, I nicknamed this project my parachute, because there's so much fabric and it's crazy and I love it, but it's a lot. I also designed myself some pockets. I looked at how like patterns for pockets are supposed to look like, but I didn't want to use someone else's. I wanted to again use my own measurements. So I first outlined my own hand on a piece of paper and had it quite spread out. I wanted to be able to fit my whole hand in there, and I wanted to fit my phone in there in its entirety, with the certainty that it's not going to fall out. Oh yeah, by the way, it has pockets. I did not mention it yet. My super skirt has pockets. I think I'm going to actually add that into the other part, to the intro, because that's a big point for me. This is my first time owning a skirt with pockets, and I cut a slit in every single circle, or a ring. I guess the rings, not circles, and so that I can connect them. And the first thing I sewed in one of the pockets, the easier one. The first pocket was easier because it was just I sewed one flap to one edge of the smallest ring, and then the other flap to another edge that they're going to be together, and then just sewed around, just making sure the stitching is going to be inside, not outside. And just sewed around the pocket to close it. The second pocket is the problematic one because it's on the same side as the zipper, and I've never owned a skirt with pockets before because they don't make them, which is very sad. So I didn't have one to just pull out of my wardrobe to analyze, but I came up with the solution myself. So first I also made a waistband because, since we're making the upper edge of the skirt, we need that. And I measured it to be around 60 centimeters long plus bias, and I eyeballed 9 centimeters for the width. It could be anything. I just wanted mine to be dainty, so then I folded it in half, then folded the halves also to the inside in half, so it's actually like 1/4 of that width, and I ironed it like that, and yeah, it works kind of like a bias tape. I just pinned it around the length of the, I just pinned it around the upper edge of the skirt to sandwich the ugly edge into it, and to also sandwich in the zipper and everything. And so what I did is I sewed one edge of the zipper to the side of the skirt. I hand stitched it actually because my machine couldn't handle the zipper for some reason, and it kept on making that noise it makes when it can't pierce through fabric. And then I stitched one side of the pocket to the other side of the skirt, and then the other side of the pocket to the other side of the zipper, and then I closed the pocket shut like I did with the previous one, and also sewed around the edge to have that waistband there. But yeah, it works. And also I made sure to have the pocket in the front and the zipper in the back, because the pocket is what I actually am fine with using while, because the pocket is actually what I'm going to be using while wearing the skirt, and zippers to just put it on and take it off. Now for the easy, logistically speaking, but just laborful part, which is sewing everything else together. I first took the two double rings, I guess, and I stitched one side of each when I was sewing them, and then I sewed like the top to the bottom to like, you know, elongate the skirt one by one. And I actually like tried it on in each stage, in each length, even though there was like a slit, because I left the other edge open so that I stitch it all at once so it is even. Also, I ended up stretching the curtain a little bit when I was sewing it, so I had like maybe 10 centimeters left, both after sewing this to the top layer and the bottom layer to this. So I just cut this off, and it's not very visible, but that's just I'm reporting what happened. And yeah, I sewed the last edge at the end, and I folded it to go down, and I also folded the edges of the and I also sewed the edges in between the curtain and the normal fabric away from the curtain. So I just folded them, and I feel like they look alright, especially that the curtain is quite stiff, not super stiff, but it doesn't fray. Maybe that's the better way to put it. It doesn't fray, so it kind of, I think it looks quite neat. This project has been quite disastrous when it comes to materials, and I've been ordering more stuff and more stuff and more stuff as I was running out of everything, thread included. And I also broke the needle, my last needle while making it. And one disastrous part is also that I didn't want to have this ruffle sewn directly onto the edge. So I wanted it to be nicer, so I also ordered this nice decorative ribbon, and I just put it on top. And I ran out of it because I did not do my math as perfectly as I thought I did, or they sent me too little. I am not sure. I did, because I had more than half. I would have expected that, maybe because I wasn't thinking immediately about multiplying my ruffle length by 2, that maybe I didn't can't count that, but no, that I did have that in my original notes, just not in the presentation. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but that's why this project took me so long. It took me several weeks, close to now, because I only worked on weekends, and I kept on having to order more stuff. And the funny thing is, as I've mentioned before, I sold it with the idea of having something big enough to go on my crinoline, or having a visible leg thing going on. But it's actually so puffy, and there's so much of it that, first of all, the crinoline doesn't make that big of a difference. And second of all, even on top of a crinoline, there is so much fabric that it kind of covers my legs anyway. They peek through, and that's cool too. But that's not what I imagined. I thought it's going to be kind of like a window to my legs, and it's not. But yeah, I am so in love. I could just twirl around in my pretty princess skirt. I wanted it to be a kind of a hippie skirt that could be turned into a princess skirt by putting it on top of a crinoline. No, it's a princess skirt. It's a full-time, she's devoted to it, and I could just twirl around and grab it by the bottom edges of the fabric, and then twirl to make it even more I am checking. My skirt is tens of kilometers away from me, and I am so happy just thinking about it. It's such an experience to have something like this. Yeah, I could twirl around and just dance, and I feel so nice wearing it. I feel like a princess, and yeah, it's such a nice skirt. I love it. And it also inspired me to sew more. I already have a different project in mind, completely different. It's also skirt related, but that one is not going to be a princess skirt. Yeah, I'm not getting into it yet.
I love my skirt. I'm not sure if you love my skirt, or if you're watching because you want to make your own, or just because you were interested in what's up with me. But yeah, that was such a disastrous project, and it's kind of hard to like keep it because it's kind of hard to start because it's a big. But yeah, I am very happy with the end result, and Jesus Christ, a skirt with pockets that's ankle long and it's like a princess skirt. Like, that's what else could I need in life? The answer is money. But aside from that, what else could I need? Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you had any thoughts on like the process, maybe you have advice, maybe you're thinking about making something else, maybe you have questions, maybe I did something wrong, so you could point this out too. Maybe you have opinions. I would love it if you left it in the comment section down below. And for now, stay safe, let some magic and whimsy into your life. I swear it's such a great thing. And peace.